Alright, so welcome to our Tailwind CSS version 4 crash course now. In this video, we're going to be looking at what's new in the version 4. Okay, we'll be comparing version 4 with version 3. The previous students did version 3 where, excuse me, so let's see. So the previous students they built this project from frontend mentor. So if you go over to frontend mentor, you'll see the frontend mentor. This is a challenge from frontend mentors, and we use this now to for the version 3 course. Okay, so but then version 4 is here and there are some significant difference. And if you've installed if you've tried to set up a Next.js project now, you would have discovered that there are some kind of changes in the version 4 and you're wondering what's the challenge there. So because of that, now I decided that this particular material we're going to be using Next.js. Okay, so and that's also because every of our projects from here henceforth now we're going to be using strictly Tailwind CSS and Next.js now. So that's why so everything is going to be geared towards a particular goal. So what we're going to do, instead of creating an ordinary normal HTML documents for this now, we're going to be setting up a Next.js project. Okay, so and this is the roadmap I think we're going to be using now. So we're going to be talking about what's new in this episode, and then after that now we'll look about flexbox in Tailwind, and also look at CSS grid for Tailwind as well. So if you understand Tailwind flexbox and Tailwind grid, there will be no layers you won't be able to build. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Then we'll move over to creating this project again, the same project we did in version 3. Okay, I just thought of it that we should create this project again in version 4. Okay, so that we can have a comprehensive system. Okay, so I'm going to create this front end in with version 4, and you'll see that there is really no big difference other than just some few things I'm going to look at here. And then after that now, because almost every project is going to be needing a dashboard, and we are also going to be building a dashboard. Okay, so, an admin dashboard. Okay, for managing user products, posts, categories, and all of those things now. So we're going to be working with Tailwind CSS and Next.js now for everything. Okay, so for the now we're going to look at what's new. All right, so now before we look at what's new, I'll just take note of this now. If you have access to if you're in month 7 of our full stack development course now, you have access to your Google Drive now. You'll see version 3 and version 4. Please concentrate on the version 4. Okay, forget about the version 3. So let's move with that. And then you're also going to see the documentation. So this Tailwind CSS version 3 project tutorial is same as this one here. When we start building this project, that's the one that we're gonna be using for everything that we're doing. And then for this current setup now, it's in this version 4, which is you're gonna have here. Okay, I think I'm gonna drop the link to this version 4 material. Okay, so that you'll be able to set it up yourself. I'm gonna drop the link in the description. So check the description, check the comment section, so you'll see all of that now. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you've not done that. Okay, now to set up now, as usual, you're going to have a root folder for all your project. Chances are you already have that. Okay, so I just call this one Tailwind. Now this all where all my Tailwind projects is going to be. You may want to call it Tailwind, or you may want to call it Next.js, or whatever it is now, but I'm just going to call this one Tailwind. Okay, because I already have a Next app folder there. Right, so now the new project I'm going to be setting up now will automatically create a project folder here. So this is like a parent folder that is going to hold all my projects. All right, so what I'm going to do now is to right click on this guy, and then I'll go over to open with code, or open with VS Code. So once it's open, you'll see it here now. There's currently no subfolder, no project inside now. So go over to view, and then go over to terminal. Then you hold on for it to load the terminal. Okay, once it's loaded, ensure that you are using git batch. Okay, so ensure you are using git bash so that it doesn't throw some error. Most of the time once you open VS Code for the first time, it's going to be on some other CLI. Okay, now once you are here, now the project you want to set up is strictly a Next.js project, so you could easily copy this and paste it right there. Okay, don't crack your head about cramming some things here. Okay, so just go to the project folder and run nps create next app at latest, or you can also find that same information in the Next.js under Next.js.org, which is the official documentation for Next.js. You're going to see it right here, npx create next app at latest. Okay, so it's going to create next a project with the latest version of Next.js. Which of them are we using? I'm going to close this one, excuse me. All right, so now here, now I'll just paste it there, or right click to paste it now. So ensure that your system is connected to the internet, so you wait for it to load, and it's going to start asking you a couple of questions which you are expected to provide an answer. What is your project name? So you could give it a name, any name that's related to your project. Remember, the documentation we are following is this V4 documentation, so I'm just going to give it this name. You could call it anything, but I just want a name that is more descriptive. Okay, so preferably your name should not have a space, so I just call this Tailwind CSS for project. Okay, so would you like to use TypeScript? You could use the left and right arrow to take either yes or no. I'm using pure JavaScript, not TypeScript, so I'm going to pick no. So slint is going to help you catch some errors on time as you work now, so I'm going to enable this. Okay, so just hold on. So the next question says, would you like to use Tailwind CSS? Of course, that is why we are here, so leave it as yes and enter. Would you like your code to be inside the SRC folder? No, I don't want it now. So just basically follow all. If you don't know what to do, SRC folder, just say no. Okay, so if you don't know what to do, fall back to this documentation. Okay, stop cramming. Okay, now yes, so would you like to use app router? It's recommended, of course. We need the app router. So for Next.js, okay, so we are setting up a Next.js project now. So would you like to use turbo pack? Yes, it's recommended for faster development and everything. So just enable yes for it now. So would you like to customize the import alias as slash blah 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 blah? So in this case, and just pick no for this one for the now. Right, so just hold on while your project is being set up. You see the new folder have been created here. So if you go over to the project root folder, where is it now? Tailwind. So you see a project has been created now. Okay, so it's been set up in the VS Code. So just hold on while it's been set up for you. It's going to take a while, so please be patient and ensure that your system is connected to the internet. Okay, so it has been created, successful created, blah 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 blah. Alright, so if you go over to the material again, this V4 material, you see the next thing for you after everything is to run your project. So npm run dev. Okay, that's what you're gonna do here. So you say npm run, but before you do npm run dev, you need to enter your project folder, because right now we are not currently in the project folder, so we are in the Tailwind folder, which is the let me say the parent folder. If you want to see it clearly now, you can go over to another let me say the command prompt now, so that you see you are in the Tailwind folder but not in the actual project now. The actual project is this one now. Okay, so now to go into that actual project folder, now you go over to open folder and then you navigate to it, or better still, you could close this project folder, this parent folder first, and then you go back to where you created that stuff there, and this is the newly created project now. So you right click on it and you click open with code, so it's going to launch the VS Code again now with the newly created project open, so you see it now. Alright, so now I can go over to view and then open my terminal again. I'm going to close this AI shots window. Right, so you see now that I'm in the actual project folder. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to run it now, npm run dev. So it's complaining because script is disabled on the system, blah blah blah. So if you have this error, just go ahead and then use git batch. Okay, so that's why I love using git batch. So close this other terminal. So I'm gonna run npm run dev. Okay, so it says running now on port 3000. Okay, localhost 3000. So you could just copy this URL to your browser so as to run it. So you see, okay, so now you could see Next.js is running. Okay, so our project have been set up now. So these are sample things in the Next.js homepage now. So if you have taken our Next.js course before, then you should be able to edit this now and start creating your Next.js app now. So everything about the application. Okay, so let's just go over to package.json. Package.json is where it lists all the dependencies. Okay, so all the dependencies are like plugins, okay, for your project now. So you could see now that React 19, the latest version of React is there. React DOM is there. Next 15, we are using Next.js 15 now, and as well you could see that we are using Tailwind CSS version 4. So everything is okay. All right, now if you go back to app, now this is the main place that contains all our files and components. Now if you are working with Next.js, now the default home page you see there is inside what this page.js. now it could be page.js or .js or page.js. okay, so like right here now you could see everything that is being displayed there. Okay, so we can go ahead and then delete everything. Now these things have been rendered there, so I'm going to remove everything, probably not everything. I'm going to leave this return, that return keyword there, because return is what makes things to show there if you are okay. So now, okay, so what I want to return now is I want to let's have an h1. So also bring the h1 for me. Okay, let's just go ahead and type it now. I'm going to say hello world. So instead of those demo content, now I'm just going to put my own hello world there. Okay, so I'm going to save it now, jump back to my code now, and then you see now that we have hello world. Every other thing is what's stripped off from the page. Okay, now if you are used to Next.js or you are used to React.js, now this is what we call JSX. Okay, so this is JSS syntax now, and we could start editing this the way we want it, start building our pages and all of those stuffs, not like that. Now this for Next.js. Okay, and we could have one thing about Next.js, you know, Next.js is built on top of React now, so Next.js is same as what React.js now, and it gives you the leverage or the liberty of breaking down complex project into smaller pieces. For instance, now if we are building this, where's that work now? Okay, so if we are building this now with React or Next.js now, we'll say everything here was their own component now. So this is an entire component now. Okay, and then inside this component now we have the navbar component now. Okay, and then this could be the slider component or the header or banner component. Now we could have different components for different things like that now. So components help us break down things. Okay, so this button could be its own component. Now things are breaking down into components so that they can be better managed, and you could add interactivity and all of those things. This is a component. This entire footer is a component. Now this place here is a component. This entire stuff is a component. So when working with React or Next.js now, so components are used to split up things, or to split things here so that they can be better managed, and you can add interactivity and all of the React or Next.js feature that you want to add to it. But for the now, we just have one component now, and that is what we have here. Okay, in this home page, this is the page now. So this we just have just one comment, this one component displaying hello world. Okay, now with this, now we know our Next.js page or project is running now, but specifically what we want to see here is the difference between the Tailwind CSS version 4 and what's Tailwind CSS version 3. Now if you were using version 3 before, let's go over to the version 3 material, and then if you were using version 3, after the installation you should have, let's see if we have that here. Okay, after the version 3, after the installation, now you should have this what's tailwind config.js file, where you have all of these stuffs now that helps you do your customization. You could program the colors that your project is going to have, your primary colors, secondary colors, and accent colors and everything. You could program them based on the project. Now for instance, now you could see this color guide for this project. Now you could see we're using more of what's gray and orange, and probably maybe one or two other colors like that. All of those colors are, you can program them inside now. You could put all of those customizations inside your tailwind config.js. Okay, if you want to configure dark mode, light mode, and all of those things, you do that from your tailwind config.js also. And if you want to use plugins like Daisy UI, which helps you for faster development, you know, Tailwind CSS gives you set of tools that helps you build stuffs that help you build custom layouts. Okay, but it's not like things like Bootstrap, whereby you can just drag and drop some stuffs like buttons, navbar, and all of those stuffs. No. Okay, but if you still want some drag and drop component like that for faster development, you can now use some of the Tailwind's plugins like Daisy UI, which have a whole lot of some of those drag and drop components that you can just, not really drag and drop, component that you can just copy and paste into your code and do some minor customization. So Daisy UI works with Tailwind CSS for faster development, but for the now we're going to stay clear of it. Maybe later we're going to work with it now, but for now we just want to use the pure Tailwind CSS and see what we can do with it now. But what am I saying now? If you wanted to work with all of those plugins now, you're going to include them here. Of course, you still need to install it for it to work now. Then you're going to include it here in the plugin section of your Tailwind config.js now. So if you've done the old Next.js or the old Tailwind before, you would have seen all of these parts. Okay, but in the new Tailwind CSS now, after our installation, you could see now that there is no Tailwind config. Don't mistake it for this post css config.mjs. now it is different from this file, so you will see it clearly written here as what tailwind config.js now. So it's not here. Okay, so if you wanted to do custom css and all of those stuff, now you can't program those things again here. But then what is now available to us now is that you can now do all of those customization from your global css. So now here we have a global.css. I could see here where it's imported what Tailwind CSS now. So what this means is that you don't really need to do any configuration by yourself again now, because even previously in the version 3 you have this content area, 3 specific area. You have the content area, the theme area, and some other stuff like that now. Okay, now this content area is where you point is where you tell the Tailwind CSS to watch out for. Okay, so you are telling it to look out all this place now for any Tailwind classes. Okay, but we don't need to do all of this pointing and all of those stuff like that now. So if not, basically we'll tell it to look at any .html file, .js file, .gss file, and all of those things now. So we're going to program that here before if we were using version 3, but in version 4 it is no longer needed, because everything is being detected automatically for you. So what does it mean? It means that as it stands now, Tailwind CSS is working for this project. How do I go ahead and test it now? So let's see. Let's close this global.css file first. We'll come back to that now. Now in our main page now, this is the home page now, page.js now, where we removed all the default stuff that came with it. Now we just put hello world. Now how are we going to test if Tailwind CSS is working? So you could go over to the official documentation of Tailwind CSS now, which is tailwindcss.com. so you could click on docs here to take you here, and right here there's a whole lot to pick from here, but I'll just go over. So you could pick colors, you could change colors and all of those things now. So under colors now, there are two things you could change now. You could change the background color and the text color, and then we have different colors here that you could pick now. So to test if Tailwind is actually working, I'm going to use this blue. I'm going to add this blue to it now. So here now, in HTML we're going to say class equal to, but in React and Next.js now it's not class, it's going to be class name with capital L. So this now is now going to be equal to text, then the name of the color blue. So you could see it now. Oh, you could see this is lovely. It's even bringing out, it's suggesting the class name for you. So I can pick any of this blue, whether a very light blue or a dark one. So any of the color you bring, it's going to bring out all of those things now. And mind you, the reason my VS Code is this smart to pick the Tailwind CSS classes for me is because I installed a plugin, okay, called I think let's see, it's supposed to be here. Okay, I installed this Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Okay, so this is what makes my VS Code to be extra smart towards recognize Tailwind stuff as I work. Okay, so make sure you installed for your own now. So if I go over here now and I go back to my project, now you see that the color have changed. All right, so let's go ahead and then add some background color. Let's add this color. So this is, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Portia. Let me use a name that is simple for me to pronounce, pink. All right, so now I'm going to add a background. I'm going to say BG dash, then the name of the color, pink, and then the shade of the pink. Now if you want a very light one, you could put 300 or 400. If you want a dark one, this now. So I'm going to use pink. Let's use 300. Yeah, so now if you go over here now, you see that it's reflecting now. Okay, so there is a whole lot that you could do with Tailwind. Now if you just go through this stuff, like let's see what we can do. Sizing, typography, and you could see we have a whole lot there. You could change your font size and all that now. Okay, so you could see there's a whole lot of stuff now that you could do there. Okay, now we have this text align here now. Okay, so this is documentation. You can always fall back to the documentation to do stuff now. So if I want to align stuff now, you could see the class that you should use. Just say text center or text left, text right, text justify, text start, text end. Okay, this is what it's going to give you, right? So now I'm just going to use this class text center. It's a Tailwind class now. So I'm going to give a space here and I'll say text center. Okay, so to centralize my text, so you see it is not centralized. If I want some padding now, if you go over to the documentation, you could see padding there. Okay, so you just Control F to find padding. Okay, I always love to use Control F. So padding, if you don't know what to do, just go over and then use Control F to find specific thing that you're looking for. So I can use padding any number. Okay, so let me use okay, let's add a padding to the top, left, right, and center. Okay, that's padding everywhere. That is going to P dash, then you put your number there. So now I'm going to say P dash, so you could see with the different paddings that are available for you. Okay, this is padding, and this is PB means padding bottom, and then we have PT for padding top, and all of those stuff now. So I'm going to use P and let's just use P20 and see. So you see the padding for us now. So with this now, you're sure that Tailwind is working. Okay, so if you want to do anything, text 6SL to increase the size of the text. So you could see now. So with this now, Tailwind is working, and then we can start utilizing everything. Almost everything you know in CSS can be done in Tailwind. Now it gives us what's the liberty of what's doing everything we want to do here without cracking our head on what am I going to name this CSS rule or all of those stuff now like that. Now we don't need to go start creating another CSS file. So we just do our styling from here. That's the benefit of using Tailwind CSS. And whatsoever you've been able to build before using CSS Flex. That's why I always tell my students, make sure you don't skip any of the class. Our month one, on that month one, we learn HTML, CSS, CSS Flexbox, and CSS Grid. If you skip your CSS Flexbox and CSS Grid, it's going to affect your knowledge in Bootstrap, and it will affect your knowledge of Tailwind. Okay, so that is why you don't skip anything. It's very important. Every step, every stage in this full stack journey is very, very important, because we keep building on existing knowledge like that now. Okay, so when we start working on this now, you will discover when we start working on this version 3 project, this same project we did in version 3, which we want to rebuild in the version 4, you'll see that it's almost everything that you already know, okay, before, that we're going to be using. Okay, so this is just some few things now. So there's no package addition dot packages, sorry, tailwind config.js file is no longer there. So if you want some customization, you could go ahead and then do it here. So like I said before, if you wanted to use Daisy UI, you first of all need to install it, and because there is no longer tailwind config.js file that you're going towards use to configure your Daisy UI to work with now, here is where you're going towards put it as a plugin there. I stated it here in the material also. So in the material, you can use this at plugin, and then it puts the name of the plugin that you want to use there, and then your Daisy UI is going to be up for you now. So there is a whole lot that you can achieve using Daisy UI. Okay, so daisyui.com, but we are not doing it now. So if you go over to Daisy UI, you will see that there's a whole lot of components that's available for you. Let's just scroll down and see. Okay, see the benefit of using Daisy UI. Now, if you are using the pure Tailwind CSS now, you have to be entering all of those those Tailwind classes, blah blah blah, to achieve some things. But if you are using Daisy UI now, it makes things a little bit simpler for you now, because you just need to enable the components, and then you are good to go. So the same result, Tailwind only, then Tailwind plus Daisy UI. This is how it's going to be. So it makes your work a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's just see if we can have some of these components just to feed your eyes. So you could see some of you have accordion, alert, avatar, badge, and all of those stuffs like that now. So if you want them, this chat bubble and all of those stuff, if you want them, you could go ahead and then make use of them. So that is if you don't want to create it by yourself using the pure Tailwind CSS. Though we can achieve this now. If you are good in Flexbox and Grid, you could create this now. Okay, but with Daisy UI now, you just grab it, and then you are good to go. So alright, so now let's leave that now, because we're going to be using the pure Tailwind CSS for the now. Alright, so number one, there's no Tailwind config, and then number two, your customizations are done in your global.css file. Now let's just assume that we are creating this project again. Now there are some styles that we will be using. So these colors now are to be programmed in the extend part of our Tailwind config, but in version 4 they are no longer have this file. So if you go back to the version 4 material now, you see where I talked about all of those stuffs now. Let's talk about this now. Let's come over here. So okay, let's see, new updates. I explained everything here. You could take your time to read this now on your own from the material. You pause the video and read it now. So let's see all of this guy now. Okay, so previously we have this content theme and plugin, but we no longer use all of those stuffs again. Okay, so we have all of this now. Okay, so these are the colors that we are using. Okay, let's say this bright red, so I can grab it from here. Maybe I want to use it in my own work now, so just take this bright red color, or let's just call it bright red here. I'm going to be using CSS variables, so we'll call bright red, and I'll go grab the value from here. make sure you don't take the colon. Okay, so you put it like this. Okay, remove the colon. Okay, so it gives you that color. So now I can do the same thing for every other color there that I have there. So I'm just going to grab all of this color because I'm going to be using them for our work now. So go over here, I want to program them. Excuse me. Okay, so remove all of this colon. Okay, why is it not? Okay, so now it's supposed to end with a semicolon, not comma. So now I have all my colors for my work now, so I can easily use them. Now if I want this bright red, I could just configure the color inside the theme area now like this. Then I'm gonna do this now. What I want now, I want to set color. Take note, in version 3 it is called colors, but in version 4 it's just color, singular. Okay, so now color. So bright red is going to be var. So let's just use this now and then we'll change the value. Where is it? Bright red. Bright red. Okay, bright red lights. Okay. Okay, so with this now I can use this bright red lights in my projects. Okay, so let's add another one more color. Just gonna duplicate this one color. Let's use this color, dark blue. Okay, so now I can use this dark blue which references this here. Okay, now let's use this for the background, bg this, and then for the text now let's use this now, just a sample. Where's the text color? Instead of blue, this one I use this. Alright, so let's go over and then see everything have changed. Okay, so with this now Tailwind is working and we are also able to program our color. So now you could also look out for color. Let's say, take for instance, now you're starting a new project. Now you are looking for color ideas. Now you could go over to this website or just search for UI colors now. So you could search for colors so that you could use any color of your choice and just program it into your work as a color that you're going to be working with. So you could see the website is open, so you could search for colors, okay, depending on your goal. So you see different color guides. Okay, so you could see if you want your website or web app or whatsoever to look something like this. Now you could program all of this color. For primary color, you're using purple, using this one, and using this one. So you could program these three color or these four colors, so you see how it is being used. Okay, so it just kind of give you some color idea. Okay, so that's how it is now. So let's take for instance now I want to use we'll see different color ideas that you could use. Okay, okay, let's just use this yellow. Okay, so if you want to use this color, let's just okay, so ffd is 03, so you could program it there also. Let's just say my yellow. I don't want to overwrite it. yellow one. So it's going to be arch ff. What's the color again? ffde03. ffde03. Okay, so the next color there, maybe this blue, 0336ff. Blue one. What was it again? 0336ff. 0336ff. Is it ff? 6ff, yeah. Start with arch. Okay, so and a colon. So you see we give it this blue. So with this one now we can now put it here in our theme. So this is going to be yellow, and then our blue. Where is it? Blue. Okay, so yellow one and blue one. So now I can use a background. Where is it? BG yellow one, and then text blue one in our projects. So you see it now, transform it now. So that's how it goes. So with that, you know how to program your color. So you see this is the version 3 on now. You use colors, blah blah blah, like that now. But in version 4 you do it right in your global CSS. Okay, so that's just for that. Okay, we already talked about that now. So these are some of the significant difference now. We can also program breakpoints as well. You know, breakpoint, other breakpoint now we have extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and all of those stuffs now. In the version 3 it is called screens. Okay, so you can set your screens now, but I'm okay with the default screen now. But if you want to overwrite the values now of the default now, you can as well overwrite those ones also. I think I talked about it now. So that's now to overwrite the default breakpoints that were there. So you just use this now. First of all, you use this for dash dash breakpoints dash asterisk now to initialize all the breakpoints. Now that is to remove every default breakpoints that were there, and then you can now program your own breakpoints now. So I can just grab this one here. Okay, so then I can go over to my work here, and then in my global.css, so you see everything is done inside your global.css now. So right inside theme now, that's where you're going to program your breakpoints like this now. So with this now, you could alter all of this value now, whatsoever you want your small screen size to be, your medium screen, breakpoint, and large. We're going to see all of this now when we start building responsive website now. So here is how to program it now. So you no longer need to go over to your Tailwind config.css now. So you do everything right from your global.css. So here now, so the way it works is that any color that you put here now, if it's already existing in the Tailwind before, it will overwrite it. But if it's not existing, to create a new one, like this yellow one and blue one now, they were not existing in the Tailwind before. So that's why it created it automatically for us now, and that's why we'll be able to use it right here. Of course, if you go to the official documentation of Tailwind now, search for colors now, you'll see colors that are already there. Okay, so if you go over to colors now, you'll see colors now. These are colors that are there. So if I add any value to yellow, it will overwrite what is there. So I can decide to use any of these color names, or I program my own. You understand it now? So that is the whole essence of this part of theming. All right, in this now. So this is where you configure dark mode also. Now we'll talk about all of these things later. Okay, so as we keep going now, you have some good understanding now. Okay, I think I'm just going to stop here for the now, and in the next class now, I think let's look at flexbox. Okay, so because that's what will enable you to start creating the layouts that you really desire. Okay, so if you're able to understand flexbox and grid, then you should be able to build any layouts. Okay, so let's just follow this now, so ensure you are following the class. Okay, thank you. So just ensure that you're able to set up this and yours is also working. And take note now, if this is your first time working with Next.js now, maybe you've not installed it before, you first need to download and install Node.js now before you be able to do all of this stuff that we are doing like this. Alright, so thank you very much and see you in the next class. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done that now, so that you don't miss any of the class that I'm going to be posting in this series and every other thing. So thank you very much. See you in the next class. Bye.